Welcome to the Rose of Sharon radio broadcast, where you are destined to smell the sweet aroma of the truth in accordance with Ephesians 4:15, guaranteed to make you free to lead the abundant life till it overflows. The time is now, and the person is you. So sit back, relax, grab your Bible, some paper, and a pen as we welcome our host, Sharon Green.
Good evening, everyone. This is Sharon Green, and you are listening to the Survival Radio Christian Network, and we're coming to you live tonight from the Women Veterans Interactive Celebration at the National Harbor in Washington, D.C., where women veterans have gathered tonight for a ball to celebrate our womanhood, but most importantly, it's our transitions in and out of the military. So tonight we're going to take a shift, and we're going to pause for the cause, although Veterans Day is not a day, it's a lifestyle. And it's another piece of actually who I am, another part of my world, another part that gives me the courage and the confidence and the dedication and the commitment to know who I am and know that I have purpose and to help others do the same. So we're going to hear from some of those women on tonight, and I'm not sure who's going to dial in first, but we have a few of them that's going to come in and share their stories as we talk about transitioning. Because transition into being on active duty and to being a veteran outside of the military takes on a mind of its own. It's not something that just happens. Like you're in the military and you're out tomorrow and everything is fine. It's a shift not only in your spirit but in your soul, because you go from a place of comfort, you go from a place of confidence, and everything is consistent. For me personally, you go from running, higher headquarters things for the entire United States Army and installations and billions of dollars, and all of a sudden you're sitting in a room with a bunch of people who've done one thing all their lives. They've never moved. They live in the same house. They live in the same neighborhood. They don't understand about leaving their children for a year. They don't have any idea about transition and change from being power position to now nobody knows you. Your rank has no authority. All the experiences that you have in some instances have no meaning to the people that you're now around. So to these gatherings that we have as women veterans, we come together to let people know that it may not look like it has no authority, but it sure does. We're well-trained. We're disciplined. We know how to be on time. We've received some of the best training the world has to offer in our individual skill sets that we bring and offer to the world. And as we celebrate veterans during the month of November, one of the reasons I wanted to do this tonight and probably the rest of this month is that it's not just a day. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a gift that we have, and we have way too many veterans that do not understand that you are a blessing in and outside the military. And so on tonight, I ask that you would hang in there with us and celebrate our women veterans as I love to do. I got lectured tonight, I think, for the third time in less than 2 weeks. Someone lecturing me about what I should be doing, how I should be I guess I would say coaching and helping people, and I should. So I repent for that. I should be more active, especially our women. Especially our women know that when he created him, he created them, male and female. He created us to be as he is. He just gave us two different roles. Like Father God, Holy Spirit, and Jesus are all God, but they have three different roles. Man was created as a man, him and her, male and female, but she is the perfection to his completion. He gave us different roles, but he still made us to be like him. So on tonight, I'm not sure if we have anybody in the queue as of yet. We're going to hear from some of our women, and some of the transition stories are not all that some of them, all of them are not good. Some of us don't transition right because it's a mental thing. And if you don't know who you are when you transition out of the military, the world will start to define you. Instead of you saying, no, I was valuable then, I'm still valuable now. Matter of fact, I'm better because I come with a gift that most people who have not been in the military don't have. I know how to be on time. I know how to be responsible. And I know how to show up and don't know what I'm going to do, but I know it's going to get done. This is the mentality that we have. And so I see we have one person in the queue, Ms. King. Sandra, are you out there? You joining us on this evening?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. Once you come back in this area, you need to come and hang out with us. We have a really powerful women veterans community here in the nation's capital, and so it's always good to welcome those near and far. Matter of fact, we have some folks here today from Atlanta, I think New Orleans, and a couple more places that's coming just to hang out this weekend. So tonight, I know that you recently have transitioned, and you've had some challenges, and because Sandra says anything, since I have lived this, all of the power people want to say, oh, we love our veterans, we take care of them, we do this. And we do have some that do. I'm not saying we don't, but we look better on paper than we do in their lives. So,
yeah.
It's like trial and error. It's a lot of stuff I've learned outside the military, I found out in the sauna at the gym. Speaking of veterans, it's like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, that is so true.
So, but not just that, not just add that piece. I'm going to ask you just to share a little bit of your transition story, but from a point of just being a woman, because we get to be mothers and we get to be daughters and wives, and it comes with a little more than just I'm getting out. There's a greater responsibility when you transition because, like I just said, women, we're the completion to God's perfection. So when our world is shaken up, then the world is shaken up. And until we start seeing ourselves, know that we have that much power. So when we're shaken up, then the whole world is shaken up. If our transitions don't happen as they should occur. That was the most shocking news I got when I got out of the military, to find out we had homeless women veterans. I just couldn't conceive that as being a reality. And so I just want you to share a little bit of your transition, and I'm going to be quiet about it. All right.
Well, yes, you are speaking to. I was a homeless veteran one time. Me and my children. I'm coming out of the military. It was a huge transition. I had just entered to emerge as well, thinking that okay, I'm here. We're gonna work this in together. I finally become the wife that I wanted to be. I finally become the mom that I wanted to be. And I definitely, wanted to be there for my children because they needed me and my husband at the time also. But things didn't pan out, even though with the lump sum and everything, things didn't pan out. So me and my children ended up homeless down here in Texas. The good news is that while I was transitioning, I remembered some of my military training where you have to improvise and that you have to take what you're given and you have to put it together, especially being a non-commissioned officer. You may be given one paragraph and you got to come up with the whole volume of not only information but of task conditions and standards. And that's what was given to me. I had to, yes, my situation was like that, but I had to go back to, okay, how I handled as a non-commissioned officer. The first thing I had to do was get myself together. And me personally, thinking that I'm going to walk into a bed of roses, you have to be prepared in and out. The good news is that I'm grateful that I had both civilian and military experience, while I was in the Army, meaning that my transition, it was rocky, but it shook me, but it wasn't devastating enough where I can stop living, where I can't stop breathing, because I had both resources. So if I can use the same talent, same energy for my resources from military, I definitely can use that for the civilian sector. And that's what I have done. I've taken my energies, I've taken my resources, I've taken everything I knew from the military, and I applied it to the civilian life. So everything that I learned in the military was not lost. It was definitely gained in the civilian sector.
All right. I had to put you on mute because there's a lot of noise in the background. But that's awesome that you were able to use your skills to continue to move forward. I think it's just a drive. Like, we have a drive of, like, it is what it is. We just have to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's one thing, I definitely see that's missing. It's too much. Well, I can't. But when you're in the military, you can't have a I can't attitude, because people's lives are counting on your decisions in a lot of cases, and so you can't have that I can't, because we're training for an event that may or may not happen. Unfortunately, what we're training for is happening. We've been training for years. My first years in the military, nobody thought about deploying. Nobody thought about actually going to war. Like, who actually goes to fight? I didn't join the Army to fight.
That's right.
So then we were deploying, and so it was 6 months, and it was like 6 months. 6 months, that's such a long time. And then that 6 months went to a year. Then that year went to 18 months. And so then 6 months was like, I'll take 6 months. Give me 6 months.
Yes.
But now when you get out, it's like, okay, you're not showing up anywhere to do something. Now you're showing up places, and you have to, like, prove yourself.
Yes.
And you're proving yourself to people like, okay, I can do your job and run this whole company, and you go home. And so there's just a different mentality altogether. But back to when you were saying about being homeless, that was what part of your career?
That was at the when I totally ETS out of the Army. I was living with my in-laws, and me and my kids. The abuse that we were in, I didn't know nobody here. So I ended up in a homeless shelter for me and my kids. And I'm not going to – I've learned being in the Army and also being a woman, first and foremost, that there's certain things that I'm not going to take, and there's certain things that my children do not have to be around, cannot be around, because that's the reason. One other reason why I got out of the military was because my children were in somewhat of that type of environment. So why am I going to put it back in the same environment? So I didn't know nobody. If I knew someone here, I would have been with them, but we actually went to a shelter. So
now what are you doing?
Right now, I'm starting from, Drake has a song, starting from the bottom down here. I live in Section 8 housing. I use that resource. I use the resources that Texas had for veterans, i.e., Medicare. We get Medicare quicker than the average person. Food stamps, because we get it before the average person quickly. And I went to hair school, finished hair school. Now I'm in nursing school. So that way, when I come back home, I can go back to being what I did in the military, which was an emergency medical assistant. But now I'm doing nursing, and my passion is hair. So I can do both. So that way, I'm preparing myself, hopefully never to be in this situation again. I'm allowing this situation to be my platform where it was me and God, and that, okay, God, I trust you. It's like a faith walk right now. I trust Him. He's telling me where to go. So that's where I'm at right now in my life. I'm making this work. I'm making this situation the best of what I can do.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I love the fact that you probably don't even pay it no attention, but your drive is pushing you not to concede, not to fall victim to your circumstances. But then, going back to school and doing hair and doing all of the other things, it's pushing you forward, not to just sit back and say, well, you know what, I can't do. And that's one of the gifts that we have as being women veterans, that we have that drive, that, I got to be dressed in 5 minutes, and I got to be somewhere at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got to have all my gear, and you're dragging this stuff yourself, and so we don't have that mentality to just sit still. Like, no, we don't. Still.
And a lot of people don't understand that, Sharon, because I came across a lot of people that says, well, you're doing too many things, you're doing too much right now, you need to sit still, and you need to just just do one thing at a time. No, that's not what the Bible tells me. The Bible tells me to have many coals in the fire, and the one that strikes is the one that's going to give me the most blessings. That's what the Bible tells me. You know what I mean? I'm used to doing 5 things at the same time and still be able to manage everything else. That's what I'm used to.
No. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I love it. Glad you called in. You can hold on. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then after we come out the commercial break, I got a couple more folks and ladies here that's going to join us on air. This is Sharon Green, and you're listening to the Rose of Sharon show, and this is on the Survival Radio Christian Network.
More and more people are making their purchases online, and their number one resource is ShopSquare.com. At ShopSquare.com, they're committed to excellence and top-notch customer service. ShopSquare.com is empowering customers just like you by providing them with the best details online anytime. If you're looking for electronics, home decor, home appliances, sporting equipment, college wear, or fashion, ShopSquare.com is where you want to be. Go to www.shopsquare.com or give us a call at 877-659-0807. That's 877-659-0807.
I'm on the radio again.
If you're a minister, church leader, business, or organization and would like to be a part of the Survival Radio Christian Network, email us at survivalradionetwork@gmail.com. That's survivalradionetwork@gmail.com. Together, we can build the kingdom of God.
Hey, good evening. Once again, this is Sharon Green, and you're listening to the Rose of Sharon show on the Survival Radio Christian Network, and we're talking about our women veterans on tonight, letting them share their stories, to let you all know what an awesome gift we are to the world. A lot of time we keep it hidden. I know all over Facebook, everybody's changing their pictures to put up their military photos, and in some cases you're saying, I didn't know you was in the military. Because when we get out, I don't say we would forget, for whatever reason, we dummy down all of the excellence that we have learned while we're there. So I know I got a couple more people in the queue right now. Sandra, you can hold on if you want to, and you can jump in on the conversation. But I have a few ladies that's here with me, hanging out with the Women Veterans Interactive at the National Harbor in our nation's capital, where we're celebrating women veterans this whole weekend. We have Christy and Teresa that's getting ready to join us and allow them to actually tell their stories as we continue to talk about the transitions from moving from a position of power and consistency in the military into the civilian sector. All right, are you ladies on the line?
Yes, hi.
No, I don't hear you. I hear you.
Hi.
I'm looking at them, so say something else.
Good evening.
No. All right, Ms.
Hello,
you go ahead. You go ahead and talk, because you actually are still in the reserves.
Yes, that's correct.
So you get to do both worlds. And you could talk a little bit about that, too, as well.
Okay, I received a commission as an officer from ROTC while I was in college, and I was...
What college was that? Why are you trying to blow that over?
Oh, okay. It was Howard University, the real HU.
Okay.
After college, I went to active duty, and I was released early and placed into the IRR, and recently I decided to return to the Army Reserves, and I'm currently serving in the Army Reserves.
All right, so what's talk a little bit about doing both, still serving as a military and the reserves, and serving in the civilian sector. Because you get to do both. So your transition when you finally come out of the reserves is going to be a little bit different than somebody that's been on active duty the whole time.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, I'm in the process now of trying to find a way to still retire so I can have my federal civilian retirement and my military retirement.
Well, that's always a good thing to happen. We started as cadets over in ROTC at Howard University. I don't know why she was intimidated. I was always been kind of gentle as far as I can remember. in the military. So, Chrissy, do we have you on yet? Are you on yet?
Hi, good evening.
All right. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I served on active duty in the Navy for 14 years. I went through the transition process 3 years ago from active duty military to civilian. And when I went through the transition process, I was a single parent, so not only did I have to think about the transition for me, I had to think about the transition for a child as well. So,
how old was your child when you separated?
7. He was 7. 7-year-old son.
So he was well adaptable, though, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
Okay, well, being a single parent, even in the military. So now, talk to us about school and all of the things that you might have missed while he was growing up, and then compare that to life now outside the military. How was that transition?
Well, definitely, for all single parents, logistics are important. Planning, scheduling. I would say while I was on active duty in the military, it was even more so important. I had to think ahead, probably more so than a single parent that not serving in the military. And during the transition process, I had to think ahead more so for that as well. Planning for health care, planning for moves, planning for doctor visits, because, of course, when you're serving in the military, you can receive health care at military facilities. But when you transition to the civilian sector, you have to find a doctor, find a dentist, plan all those services. Same thing with education. If you were stationed overseas, you have access to maybe some of the DOD schools and education. You have education services that help you plan the transition. Well, when you become a civilian, you have to, again, plan for moves, plan for changing schools, get all those things together. And then, of course, me being a service member, I was in school at the time as well, so I had to plan for the change in access to financial resources to fund my education. So I would say planning was probably the biggest thing.
Well, what drove you? Because that's a lot. Being a single parent, I'm with you 100-fold. I know exactly what you're saying. But what drove you to continue on when it's always the means to either quit and just say, look, I just can't do this. It's too much.
What drove me to keep going? I wanted my son to see that he can do anything he set his mind to, whether he was in the military or out of the military. So I wanted my son to see me as a leader and a go-getter. And I would say my son was my biggest motivation. It's funny because surveys show that the number one reason people join the military is for family, to take care of their family and family needs. And the number one reason why people leave the military is for family needs, to be there for family. So I would say, for me, when I joined, I was 17. I still remember my mom. She had to sign for me to leave and join the military. And I primarily joined for funding for my college education. And then along the way, I became a parent, and I knew that it was time for me to transition. I knew when it was time for me to transition, I should say.
So now what are you doing outside of the military?
Well, I'm a management analyst and a knowledge manager, and I work for Navy Medicine. To sum it up, I basically solve problems and prevent problems. I'm a strategist in how I perform my job. I work collaboratively with subject matter experts, and we get to the root problem and the root cause of the problem, and collaboratively we develop solutions to solve the problem and prevent further problems, and then share the knowledge amongst other specialists in whatever field I'm working in for that particular project. And yes, it's been an interesting transition.
But you do feel that you had a great start coming out of the Navy, though.
Oh, absolutely, hands down, absolutely. Had it not been for the Navy, I would not be where I am now. Because serving in the Navy, I was able to gain the skill sets that I have now to perform the job I'm in and to complete my education to perform the job that I'm in now.
All right, what pattern? I see a pattern even coming out of the Army and out of the Navy, being enlisted, that you have the drive. That's one thing I know that we have as not just women, but, women veterans, we have the drive. We have the skills. We have the ability to pretty much do anything that we can imagine to get it done. So, Ms. Teresa, I know you're over there. You're awfully quiet. But now what are you doing besides just serving in the reserves? Because that's just a little different animal, although now our reserves troops serve just as much as active duty. There's no more that one time a month thing.
Yes, that's true for some units. When I got off active duty, as I said, I was placed in the IRR, and I, didn't have any drilling responsibilities. But now I'm in a unit where we manage the training of soldiers that are deploying. So I haven't deployed, but we manage about 9 brigades that deploy.
Okay, so now everybody know what IRR means.
I'm sorry, that's Individual Ready Reserve. That's part of the reserve, and that happens. You get placed in the IRR basically when they cannot find a unit for you within a certain distance. I think that's changed now, but when I got out, there was no unit with my military specialty within 50 miles of my home, so I did not have any monthly obligation or annual obligation, just to, an annual check-in basically to determine that I'm still around, and that's the difference between the Individual Ready Reserve, that's the inactive component, and the regular reserve is the active component of the reserve that actually report somewhere monthly and annually.
All right, that's awesome. But before I let you ladies go, Miss Sandra, I want you to, you had to give advice to someone that's listening in right now that may be transitioning out, that may, be having experiences with family circumstances that may cause them to not focus on some of the professional things that we do, and they were transitioning from the military. What advice would you give them?
I would say that get help, because there is help out there. Before you transition, go to your ACAP briefings, because they give you a list of information that you will hold near and dear. They also give you help like food pantries, everything that you'll need, counseling. Counseling service is still available to us veterans. Military One Source is still available to us veterans. They even, if you go to VA before you get out, they still have links with ties to the bases, so you're able to transition better. The key to the fact is to make sure you prepare before you get out. Make sure find all your resources, and really, really thoroughly take into consideration everything that you need to do prior to your getting out.
All right. That's good stuff. Good advice. All right, Miss Christie, what advice would you give to those Navy people out there that's off the ship? On dry land now.
Well,
that's the change right there. Just getting off the ship. And I know you need to come off the ship, but still.
Yes, that's a major change. Well, first I would say start planning earlier. Everybody transitions from the military one day. It's a different time frame for different people. It may be 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 20 years. But start planning earlier, and that will help you with the transition process. I would also say, if you can, get yourself a really good mentor, preferably someone who has successfully been through the transition process, because a mentor could really help guide you through the process. And lastly, learn what services are available to you. as mentioned before, you have the VA, you have the military One Stop, you have the American Job Centers. The services are there. Find out what they are and start talking to the right people.
All right. Well, let me go back to you, Sandra. I know that you're still there. If somebody in Texas wanted to get in touch with you to help them with their transition, how can they get in touch with you?
I'm available on the website through Yahoo, SIIEDA@yahoo.com. That website again that web address again is S as in Sierra, I as in India, E as in Echo, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha, yahoo.com. Also my Facebook page, Sandra N. King on Facebook. You'll see a picture of my book and my kids.
All right. Well, thank you, sweetheart. You have a wonderfully blessed evening. Keep listening in as we bring in some other best. And Miss Christy, how can someone get in touch with you? And where are you?
Yes, I am in Germantown, Maryland, and you can get in touch with me through Gmail, christy.sadler@gmail.com, CHRISTIE, and last name Sadler, SADLER, and, of course, Facebook.
All right. I'm going to have to friend you as well. Thank you, sweetheart. Mr. Teresa, I haven't forgotten about you over there. But since your situation is a little bit different, and so you come with a commitment to both worlds at the same time. So I've still got questions for you. How is hanging around women veterans? I know you came here as a guest of one of our sponsors today, and I'm glad you're here. But how is hanging around women veterans even enlightening you for your one-day transition?
Well, actually, it has enlightened me because, way back when I transitioned from active duty to the individual ready reserve, I wasn't prepared. I didn't plan for it. It was a family situation, and it was a quick transition. So I ended up being unemployed for 6 months. I was stationed in one state, and I moved back to Maryland. So it was a difficult transition for me because there were no jobs out there. So I made that mistake. I will not make that mistake again. I have a clear course, a clear path as to what I want to do this time around in the military. And I think there's a lot more information available out there, and I have a lot more mentors on my side this time. So I know what's going on, and I know what to do, and I know how to handle my career a little better than I did the first time around. So I'm looking forward to retiring one day, and I'm on the path for that.
All right. Well, your one day in the IR are going to be a little bit ways down there. But you've already actually made the transition, as you were just explaining. And it still makes a difference that we support one another, that we share the information. Like I said, I retired with just a little bit of rank, and I'll tell you, it's a lot of stuff that I go through now. I'm like, but the soldiers are really catching it. If I'm going through this and I'm having, the Department of VA tell me it's impossible for us to tell you when you're going to get paid, I'm like, impossible. You get to say that? You think you get to really tell me? Not only is it impossible, but we don't even know what your paperwork is. We're just going to tell you we have it. So I wonder what are soldiers doing who probably didn't really prepare, for the transition, who didn't save money, who don't have anything back to fall on. And so we don't share this information to let others know that you don't have to go this route on your own. There are so many programs. I got stopped by a homeless guy at Howard University recently, and I kind of flipped it on him. He didn't know what to do. He, was asking for money. And I'm like, you up here around all these people asking for money, that you live in the nation's capital. You know how many homeless programs we have for veterans? Mm-hmm. And I started sharing pretty much, he walked away because that wasn't his thing. But we do have tons of programs here, for us. So if you don't have the information, then we're going to take advantage of it. Well, ladies, I thank you. I think I'll have another caller that's going to call in, and we're going to share. I thank you for your time. And Mr. Rich, you tell us where we can find you if someone would like to talk to you, even from the transition from active duty to the reserves. You can give us your information.
Sure. My personal email is T as in Tango, M as in Mike, ARROYO@yahoo.com. And I'm at 1st Army Division East at Fort Meade. You can find me there, or you can find me at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Just look under Teresa Arroyo, ARROYO is my last name.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. You all have a wonderfully blessed evening.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
You too, Sharon.
All right, sweetheart. All right, so as you see, our little veterans community, we have a great deal of powerful women making it happen, even on the civilian side. And so this is just not an opportunity to talk about veterans because it's our veterans holiday. And that's not just a holiday. When you serve your country, it's just a different mentality that we actually dummy down. We don't actually exalt the fact that, look, I personally was gone for 3 years of my son's the first 6 years of life, and so I'm leaning on other people to raise this person that I actually brought into the world, and I'm feeling guilty, like I'm passing my responsibilities off on my family. And so then you have these things that you have to deal with, and so how do we do it? How do we persevere? Because it's just a different mentality that's not exercised during a holiday. It's a mentality that should be exercised all year long. I even had a conversation with a friend of mine to tell me, working for the federal government, to being on active duty. And I'm laughing now because I laughed in. Like, there is no comparison. Nobody's asking you to move every 2 to 3 years. Nobody's asking you to keep putting your kids in 4 or 5 different schools. Nobody's asking you to leave them for a year and you can't even, spend any time with them. Skype wasn't around until like 2007 or 8, and you couldn't be able to see them. But now, we have all modern technology to make, our separations a lot easier. We have a lot of support that makes it, the time, seem like it goes by much faster. But it's only through the grace of God that we're able to live the lives that we do and then transition to make impact in the world. Because we do have skills. We do have the qualities that puts us at a different level. It definitely does. You may not agree with that because you haven't served, but when you get to go somewhere, like I deployed a team to another country, and when we were leaving, they said, well, ma'am, what are we going to do? I told them, I don't know. Whatever we're going to do, we're going to go do it, and we're coming back. And that's exactly what we did. We went to another country, we did what we had to do, and then we came back. But it's just a different mentality that we have. And we have another caller on the line, but before we even bring anybody else on, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And I'm just basically having the show tonight because I want the listeners to know that you have a gift. If you have not just women veterans, men as well, you have veterans in your organizations or your friends, then I just ask that you appreciate, the gift that we are, because we do come with a different skill set. And if we don't have anything else, we definitely come with the skill set of discipline. So this is the Rose of Sharon show. This is Sharon Green, and you're listening to the Survival Radio Christian Network, and we'll be right back after the commercial break.
Cafe Atlanta, where desserts are created and you taste love. Looking to fill your sweet tooth? Do you have a special event or occasion you're planning? Give Cake Cafe Atlanta a call. Located at 368 Candler Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30317. Open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 7 p.m. You can get the best in pies, cakes, cobblers, coffee, brownies, specialty popcorn, and more. Visit their website at www.cakecafeatlanta.com or give them a call at 404-284-0106. That's 404-284-0106. Call Cake Cafe Atlanta today.
Looking for a cafe with a home-like appeal where all who enter feel like they are part of something? Visit My Coffee Shop, located in Eastlake, Atlanta, Georgia. MCS has a full breakfast and lunch menu, offering both hot and cold options, and is home of the amazing basil lemonade. But don't forget their assortment of freshly brewed coffees. Come on by at 2462 Memorial Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30317. We're pretty sure My Coffee Shop at East Lake will become your coffee shop, too.
All right, welcome back. This is Sharon Green, and you're listening to the Rose of Sharon show on the Survival Radio Christian Network, and we're coming to you live from Women's Veteran Interactive, where we're celebrating women's veterans at our national harbor here in the nation's capital. And we've been talking to some women veterans who've been sharing their stories on the coming from the military into the civilian sector, and they've all had this one gift, be it known or unknown, and it's called faith. Because without it, it's impossible to please God. But without it, you really don't have a vision to go forward. We can easily get stuck in what we see today. And there's such a mental transition that if you can't see tomorrow outside of the military, then the world will define who you are. So we don't want that to happen to none of our veterans, because we've served our country well, and we can serve whatever we put our hands to on the outside as well. So I understand that we have a couple more callers on the line. Do we have somebody out there? Okay, I see I got a drop line. And we'll get them here soon enough. But if you can need nothing else from today's show, we're going to bring in a couple more people throughout the month. It's really been in my spirit to share this side of me, because I guess when I got out, I tried to dummy down being in the military as well. Not that I had any problem with serving. It's just that I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do something else, make a different impact in lives of others. And as soon as I started in that direction, and then I went to one women's event, just one, and I said, oh, no, I can't walk away. I can't turn my back. I cannot help our veterans. I can't do that and have a conscience, because since it is a transition, and that's one of the gifts I have, is I don't understand no. I don't understand what I can't do. So, and to make the transition, and it is, since I've had to experience it mentally, I know that it is a mental shift. And if you're not confident, like I said, in who you are, then it can be detrimental. But I understand our caller is back on the line. Okay. Let's see, is that Charlene?
Yes, it's me. Can you
hear me?
Yes.
This is Sharon.
Hey.
Another one of my awesome Spirit of Faith Christian Center partners, my favorite church, where we get fed well from the phenomenal Pastor Michael Freeman. Now, if you can't brag about this church, then your pastor, don't hate on me. You need to find another church. But I want to welcome my sister to the show. And she, too, I asked that you can share with us a little about your transition. And I know you've been out for a minute.
I did. I retired in 2006, and I transitioned from the Army. I retired 23 years from the Army, and in a way it was really kind of hard. But then once I had went on through the transitional program that we had, they kind of helped me as far as transitioning to a new job, and I started with contracting agency. And when I got with the contracting agency, they helped me as far as getting out there into the civilian world and being able to cope. And I ended up getting a job working with the National Guard Bureau, and I stayed with them. And they also, the transition with the Army, they had this program as far as helping me with my resume and stuff. That's another thing that kind of helped me. But once I got with the National Guard Bureau, and I was a contractor there, and I was contracted for like 6 months. Once I did that, then I became a government employee. But still in all, even doing like the government work as far as I'm a logistics specialist, I still also do like a part-time job working as an entrepreneur with Soul Purpose, Longevity, dealing with health and wellness. And the transition, like I said in the beginning, seemed kind of like it was different being able to deal with people that, because you've been in the military so long, you know, you kind of like dealing with disciplined people all day long, and you kind of know people's personality. But then once in the civilian world and dealing with people that don't know nothing about the military, it was really hard for me, kind of trying to adjust to people. But after, you know, working with people and realizing that they're people too, still in all, I didn't have I didn't really have a whole lot of problem with them, but it was a hard transition for me. But then as being an entrepreneur, knowing that I could be able to go out here and still work as a government employee and as an entrepreneur doing something that I like, I feel as though that the struggle wasn't hard because I knew it was something else inside of me that I could be able to do. But that's my story.
That's good. That's good stuff. You got the same thing going on as my last caller. Is that you saw it and you moved forward because not only was something that you wanted to do, but the fact that you would come to a standstill just couldn't exist. Like
right.
It got to be something more. If something's in the way, then we just got to go around it or above it, but it has to get out the way. But I'm not going to stand still. And before you continue on, I have another caller that should be out there, Miss Tammy. Are you out there with us? Another health and wellness. Awesome. Push one if you're listening in. Push one. And actually, once she gets on, I'm going to let her start, but I think I'm going to bring her back next week. It's Fitness Guru, if she ever comes in. But anyway, while she's trying to get in on the line, Charlene, I know that you said that you were doing for the government and as an entrepreneur. So are you still doing both of those now?
Oh, yes, I am. I'm doing it now.
I'm
doing one of them right now as we talk. I'm sorry.
No. Say that again.
Saying as we talking now, I'm.
Yeah. Why not? Did you drop? All right. Sounds like we have another drop. This is another drop call. Prayerfully, we'll get them both out here. Charlene she's here at the event. She's vending, and she is she has two things going on over there, trying to do health and wellness with the ladies. And
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. You're back. So you can tell us a little bit. I was saying that you're here at the event as well, and tell us what you're vending.
I'm vending health and wellness, soul purpose, skincare line, and also longevity, health and wellness, dealing with vitamins and minerals.
Okay. So now, somebody wanted to talk to you, maybe in the government or an entrepreneur, and maybe as an entrepreneur they got out in transition and they're trying to figure out how to do both. How can we get in touch with you? Or maybe they just want to get some help, and you can give us more information about the products that you sell.
Okay.
How can we get in touch with you?
They will call me at 202-409-6266.
Okay. Your name is?
My name, I'm sorry, I do apologize. My name is Charlene. That's Charlene with a C. Last name Browning with an ING. And my number again is 202-409-6266. And I also have my email address is charlene@soulpurpose.net.
Okay, so now what's the name of the company again?
It's Soul Purpose Longevity.
Okay, Soul Purpose Longevity. And give us your email one more time.
Charlene with a C @soulpurpose.net.
All right. Thank you, Miss Charlene. Thank you for sharing your story. Glad to see you persevere and still make a difference. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
All right, sweetheart. I think we finally got Miss Tammy Lambert on. This health and wellness, fitness. Are you with us? Are you on mute? I know you're there. I can see. All right. Well, preferably we can get her on. And she's a phenomenal woman of God, retired from the military, doing fitness here in the Maryland area, making impact in the lives of others. You should see her. I'm going to have to post a picture so you can see all those muscles. I'm not going to hate on it. Come on, lady, let's get you on where you at. Well, if not, I'm definitely going to bring her back next week. Her and our president of Women Veteran Interactive, we're going to bring them back and allow them to pretty much tell you their whole story on how you transition and persevere. How do you mentally just continue to have the faith of God to know that, oh, this is not the end. It only gets better. And so I'm going to do my part to make sure that we keep it moving. Okay. Miss Tammy's in the host queue. I'm not sure why we're not coming through. And she pressed 1. I did want you to leave. All right. Are you here? Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Good evening. I at least wanted everyone to kind of get a taste of you a little bit on this evening. And I was explaining how I'm going to bring you back if you're available next Sunday. So you'll have a longer time to pretty much share all of your successes that you and your husband have been able to achieve since retiring from the military. But real quick, please just let everyone know who you are and just tell us your transition story. Tell us your transition.
Well, my name is Tammy Wright. My husband and I, we are both proud military. We have ABC Wellness and Fitness Center, which is Anointed Body of Christ, which is located in Waldorf, Maryland.
Let's do that again with the fast. Go back to ABC and slow that down.
Okay. My husband and I, we both are the owners of ABC Wellness and Fitness Center, and ABC stands for Anointed Body of Christ. With our fitness center, what we do is teach lifestyle changes and provide an environment for the entire family. We don't want it to be an environment just conducive for the parents to come and work out, but a place where the whole family can come and work out. And we have something for everyone so we can convey the whole family working out together. So my husband and I, we are both proud military. I have 21 years, but all of my time has been in the National Guard. So when the young lady was talking about the National Guard bill, I was walking right down my lane. But my husband, he did about 12 or 13 years active duty. And then the remainder of his years, about 8 years, was in the reserves. But he did do 3 combat tours.
Wow. So tell us, how did you get from there to here?
For me, it was always having the love for fitness. Actually, my husband and I, we both met in the gym. So we both have a love for wellness, fitness, health. And with him, he did bodybuilding competitions. So it's nothing for him when it comes to what he does. In our aspect of our business, he does all of the personal training. We have fitness boot camps throughout the week. And then he also do nutritional guidance. And with our personal training, what we do, we look at what to do, food laws and stuff like that, coupled with the exercises that's catered to whatever their goals are, which is what they convey to us in their consult when they come to seek services. So with our aspiration for fitness, it sort of allow us to transition from the military, where fitness is very, very important in the Army because we're both Army, and then provide that same platter to our customers because we do have a love for the fitness, especially with the boot camps. We get a little bit unorthodox with it. We don't do your traditional stuff, and with him, it's always different. So it's sort of like taking exactly what we learned in the military and presenting it to others with the boot camp, the camaraderie, breaking down those muscles, making it tough. But we're not yelling at people, but we're motivating them, but they're still getting the whole effect of the total body workout.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. But when you transition, you still have to have the idea of a business plan, because you can do a boot camp outside of a physical building, but you have to have the idea of the business plan and the opportunity to not just impact and help people get in shape, but the desire to do it. Because starting a business is not just like, okay, hey, you start a business today, I want this building right here. So you still have to have that plan. So did you start the planning process before you got out or after?
Before, actually, when I went to college, I always knew that I wanted a business. And with me being in the National Guard, I was civilian and military. with my husband, when he transitioned, by the time we had met, he was already in the reserves. So once again, he was civilian and military. When he did his last tour, because he was deployed in 2003, when we had the last war that we recently had, he was deployed for 9 months, and that was right after we had gotten married. So we were still newlyweds. So he got married, and he was gone like less than 30 days after we said I do. So when he came back, I was almost like a secretary or the admin in the office, because I'm like, sign these papers, this is it. There's no more military for you. But when he transitioned, he was working in a civilian position, so we were already putting things in place to start the business. And we were sort of forced into our business because we had it and we were doing it part-time along with us working full-time. And God was tugging on our heart to go full-time with the business. But like the typical person, we're like, no, we got to have 2 incomes. We got a family. We just got a house, this and that and that. But then it became where in his job he started getting uncomfortable. And when I say uncomfortable, he started having issues at work. He started having issues with the employees. He started having issues with the supervisor. He was stressed. He got high blood pressure. It became an issue for me because of all the hours he was working. Before we were on our way to church, people were calling, we don't have any change. And I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do? It's Sunday. We ran out of ice. Okay, what do you think you're supposed to do? Go and make some ice? So it became to the point where it started interfering with the time he was off when it was family time. Now he was getting all these calls that didn't make any sense to me at home. So he finally got terminated, and then we couldn't get any unemployment benefits or anything. They did whatever they could to make it a gruesome transition. So we pretty much said, okay, it's time. God told us that we needed to do this business now. You're going to do this thing. So he went in, he did the business full time, and that was our streaming income. So we went from him being mobile to having the stuff in the truck, and he would go and train people in the comfort of their home. Then 5 months later, we had a customer that was a neck, back, and spine injury doctor who told us she had some space in her practice that we can use. So that was about 500, 600 square feet. So we did that. And then 4 months later, we were moving into our own facility, and we had 1 suite. And then 3 or 4 months later, we were transitioning, and we had the whole bottom floor, which we have about just over 5,000 square feet now. So it's just been growing. So a lot of times, like one of the young ladies said, is that when you know you're about to transition, take advantage of the different programs, because the military now, they have a program that you can start working a year prior to. But one of the young ladies that I know that's a chief warrant, she started planning like years out, and she already knew how much she wanted to be making and things of that nature. And I always tell her that you open my eyes to a lot. So when you know it's almost time, for me, I always knew when it was almost time. Start planning in advance, especially if you have a family, so you're not getting a hokey-doke and get into a situation where you're unable to provide for your family. And it's just having that thick skin and doing what you got to do so that you don't have an adverse situation.
I'm going to have to interrupt you right now because I want you to come back next week, and I only just continue to talk about your transition, but give us some pointers on health and where we can find. Matter of fact, before I go real quick, just tell us where we can find you. Tell the viewers where they can find you. Somebody's looking to work out between now and next Sunday before you can give us a little bit more.
Well, ABC Wellness and Fitness, we're located at 3010 Crane Highway, Waldorf, Maryland, and the landmark, ironically, is behind the McDonald's and the Outback Steakhouse. Our phone number is 301-885-0ABC, which is 0222. We also have a boot camp tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock a.m. If anybody wants to come out to that. We have showers on the premises where you can shower. And I look forward to next week.
All right, I'm looking forward to having you as well. But we're running out of time. Once again, I thank everyone for being on the show tonight. And this is the Rose of Sharon show where the truth is designed to make you free, according to Ephesians 4:15. Speak the truth and love that we may grow up into all things into Him who is the head, Christ. And this is the Rose of Sharon show, and you're listening to the Survival Radio Christian Network. And let's do this again next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a wonderfully blessed night. Thank you.
Tune in next Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for more of the Rose of Sharon Show with our host, Sharon Green, on the Survival Radio Christian Network.